to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
The blackest eyes.
Kill your God.
Come on!
Make this asshole.
You're terminated, fucker.
Live or die, man.
Roads? Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
There can be only one.
Kill you all.
Goonies never say die.
We all need each other. As you can see, I'm not happy.
Are you not entertained?
This is friend.
Happy trails, Hans.
Welcome back to the Skewered Universe podcast. My name is Jeff.
I'm Ryan.
And it's been a little bit. We've been kind of busy. I've been busy. Well, you were busy too. You made an appearance as well, somewhere. We'll get to that. How have you been, Lan?
I've kind of been amazing.
As always.
Definitely, as always.
Well, in my eyes, you're amazing, but...
Oh, well, thank you.
You've been amazing? How so? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Breathing. I woke up this morning. Can't complain.
Nice.
I mean, I can complain.
I mean, we all could if we really wanted to,
Right.
but...
You know.
Oops.
Jeez. You know
As
what?
I smacked the table. Yeah. So, apologies for anyone who heard that. My foot hit the table that we have the microphones on. I apologize.
I mean, we had some doggy issues.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
I don't like to give too much because we may or may not have someone who may or may not listen to us, who we may or may not want in our lives. We definitely don't want them in our lives. So I try not to give too many.
Just some minor stuff with the dog, but she's good.
Yeah, she's good. Well, better. Well,
I didn't find out her blood work came back clean, so that's always good. Yeah, we didn't find that out, but...
She likes to just give us expensive vet bills for no reason.
Yeah. So, but she's on the mend, she's doing better.
Yeah.
Eating, all that, so...
Got a good appetite.
Yeah, so, if you have dogs, you'll understand.
Yeah.
Or pets in general, you'll understand.
Yeah.
So, been anything else you've been doing, Leanne, aside from helping get the dog to the vets?
Well, I also help feed her, and I also console her when she cries, and I do more stuff, and just take her to the vet. How's your coffee?
It's good.
Is it coffee or is it tea?
It's coffee.
Ooh. Wow, is that?
No. Something went down the wrong way. Yes, indeed. Ooh. Having a little bit.
You don't usually have coffee because you don't usually record during the day. It's usually in the evenings, which is...
Yeah.
We're kind of throwing everybody and yourself for a loop.
And we will get to that in just a moment.
How have you been?
You know, I can't complain. I've been good. Been doing a lot of podcasting lately.
Yeah, you're very popular.
Apparently so. So if anyone was listening or watching last Saturday on Tales of the Podcast, you'll know that we had Dawn and Nick on from the Fear Fans podcast.
Nice.
And just this past Tuesday, I made an appearance on their show. We talked paranormal activity. So if you didn't get a chance to see that live, go back to their YouTube, check it out. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people on there, but you know what? It actually went really, really well.
Nice.
It was like, I think 8 of us in there at one point, and it was well orchestrated. It went really well. Everyone was having a good time.
Yeah. I saw bits of it. It looked like you guys were having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, until certain topics.
And then who knows? Somebody that was on there said something about putting together a podcast talking about sleep paralysis, which I do deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, not lately, but I haven't been nearly as stressed as I have been in the past. So look forward to something on that. And the night before that, you and I,
What did we do?
we got to sit down, and remotely, of course, because we're in California. They are, I believe, they're both in Ohio, maybe?
No, I think Nathaniel is in, I want to say Missouri. I don't know.
Either way, they're not in California. They are somewhere else within the continental United States. We were talking about Nathaniel and Samael from At the Devil's Ball. We got to sit down with them and record an episode talking about Basic Instinct, which will be coming up soon.
They are such delight.
They really are. It was fun, funny, great conversation about film. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see about getting them on to Skewered Universe at some point, so we can just have a nice sit-down chat.
Yeah.
Talk about some random movie or some fucked-up horror movie. I don't know. Who knows? I think they're down for anything, so we'll run it by them.
Yeah. They're some of my favorites. I mean, of course, Paul is a favorite of mine.
Yeah. You guys will reach out to Paul at some point and see if he wants to come back on for something. Yeah. I did reach out to Mary, who most of you will remember from our Perfect Blue episode where we had Paul and Mary on. And I also did reach out to Nathaniel because they expressed interest in going on to Tales to talk Are You Afraid of the Dark with us. So
that'd be fun.
I told them, hey, we have every season available that was ever made, so take your time and figure out what episodes you might want to come on for. We'll schedule it.
Yeah.
But yeah, been doing a lot of podcasting. It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah. I have I'd invite to go back on Fear Fans. They even said this next week I could go back on, so next Tuesday they're going to be talking about Saw.
Ooh.
So you never know, I may reach out and be like, hey, if you want my input on Saw, I'd be more than happy to show up. Plus it promotes all my other stuff I'm doing, so win-win. Aside from that, I haven't been doing a whole lot else. Playing some games, watching YouTube.
Sorry, I haven't. It's the Godzilla or whatever, but it just makes me laugh.
Okay, so anyone who's wondering, if you have Netflix and you wait long enough, the Netflix screensaver comes up and shows different things they have on the service. One of which right now is I want to say it's 2014 maybe, Godzilla film. And yeah, it makes a certain face, and Leanne was making that face.
And did you see what just came up?
Blended.
Which is?
Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. You do enjoy them together, don't you?
I do.
They really have a good chemistry, don't they?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I get distracted. I was laughing at the Godzilla thing because his neck and body were so big, but his head and mouth were just so small that it was like, wow.
That's a criticism everyone had when that movie was made. They're like, why is Godzilla so fat? Why is his head so tiny? And I'm like, why does it matter?
Because if he were in a human form, he would look like a dork. Mouth open and tongue sticking out.
Let's be fair. He'd probably also be wearing a fedora and talking about how he's a nice guy. Did I say that? Me? Well, there is one thing I've been playing recently, because Apple has opened up the App Store to emulation, and I downloaded the Delta emulator, which has NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Nintendo 64, and Nintendo DS emulation, and I've got some games I've been playing a lot of those on my phone. So if you have an iPhone and you've been wondering about emulation, go to the App Store and get Delta. It's pretty fun. You just gotta find the ROMs somehow. I don't know where you could obtain those. Maybe the internet, but be wary. I am not condoning nor vilifying anyone for going on the internet and finding ROMs. Anyway, it's been fun. That said, Leanne,
what up?
Should we let them know what we're doing?
Well, as it usually happens, I usually watch a series until I get to the end, and then I realize, oh shit, this was actually really good. Maybe I should include Jeff in this. And I did that with a show on Netflix called Reindeer.
I really don't know where it's going to end. I think one of us is going to have to die now.
You say this woman's stalking you?
Yeah, like 6 months maybe.
Why'd it take you so long to report it?
I think she needs help. She comes to my work, my house. She sends me emails like all the time.
Are any threatening towards you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's particularly threatening.
There's a reason you're keeping her around, and maybe it's what she gives you.
Got really manly hands, haven't you? Chiseled jawline. Should we run away together? So you're a comedian?
Sort of.
It's not going well.
So is that a question?
Somebody hurt you, didn't they? Who was it?
Martha, can you let go of my hand now, please? Martha, please let go!
Don't you dare!
Please welcome to the stage, Don!
I'm really worried here. Woo! You can't let her affect us like this.
It's not her affecting us, it's you. I miss you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my stalker. Say hello to Martha.
Don't you say that to me! Apologise to me right now!
Can't take my mum anywhere.
You're shite.
You indulged her.
Oh, please.
I think you love it.
Look, Martha, just go back home.
I have a sneaky feeling you might be the death of me.
Right.
7 episodes, approximately half an hour each episode, approximately. And it's about this man dealing with a female stalker, and he's forced to face deep-seated trauma.
Okay.
And I thought we could do it, kind of interstellar interstitial style. Yeah.
What are interstellar interstitials? This is a rather different movie review format where Jeff and Leon will pick a movie that neither of them have seen or at least one of them has not seen. Then, they will watch the movie in real time, breaking every 15 minutes to give their thoughts on the movie to that point. At the conclusion of the film, they will give their final thoughts, recommendations, ratings, and discuss any interesting information about the movie in general. Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast already in progress.
This still does not roll off this tongue. So I thought maybe we could take a break with the end of each episode.
Yeah.
Instead of doing like 15 minutes of a movie.
Mm-hmm. So that's right. We're doing each episode, then we'll come back for our thoughts and all of that. So a slightly different take on Interstellar Interstitials, but I'm excited to do it.
Yeah.
And if it works out, cool. And just so you know, we'll tell you up front, if this runs longer than a traditional episode, it will be split into 2. So keep that in mind. If you get 2 dropped on the same day, we didn't do extra podcasting, I just split this episode.
And also, it's going to have trigger warnings. This is going to be a trigger happy, well, not trigger happy. You know what I mean.
This could be triggering for some folks. We're going to talk about probably everything that's in the series. Possible spoilers, so if you want to watch the series, maybe do so ahead of time, or watch it along with this podcast.
This is what we love.
Exactly. That's why we do it this way.
Yeah, so that you could watch it with us, like you're with us.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, everybody. It's gonna be interesting to do this.
Yeah, the show itself is not fun. However, the style is pretty fun.
I have only seen the trailer that you showed me.
Yeah.
I only saw a couple of mentions of it on Threads, and I avoided going into articles or anything on it. I didn't even go search for images like I normally do before we podcast, because I wanted to wait.
Yeah, usually when I decide to watch a random show, I usually just see it on Netflix and go, that looks interesting, ding, and then I start watching it. So I didn't even know, I knew it was about a stalker. That's all I knew.
See,
I watched the whole thing and I went, oh, fuck, it's good. Oh, fuck. It's so good.
So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into that. And just so you guys know, you know how normally we watch a movie, you get the drive-in movie ads. It's going to be something a little different since this is a limited series. You're not going to hear movie ads this time. You're going to get something a little bit different.
Ooh.
So keep an ear open for those. And shall we get started? All right. We'll be back after the first episode.
There's been another murder.
30 years ago, they were the misfits, bound together to fight their worst fears.
Every nightmare you ever had. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Maybe it's some kind of evil being that can read our minds. I want to kill it. Swear to me that if it isn't dead, we'll all come back.
Now, it's back for revenge.
The killings start up again. 6 so far, maybe more.
Together again, they'll fight to the death.
Lucky 7.
We're all here now.
Get out of Derry while you still can.
I'm going back in. This time I'm going to kill it.
Something bad's going to happen to one of us, maybe all of us.
Let's finish it.
Once and for all.
John Ritter, Harry Anderson, Annette O'Toole, Richard Masser, Tim Reed, Dennis Christopher, Richard Thomas, and Tim Curry. Stephen King's It.
All right, so we've watched the first episode of Baby Reindeer.
Yeah, we were introduced to the main character,
Donnie,
a.k.a. Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
And his new friend, Martha, a.k.a. convicted stalker.
Yeah.
Who spent a little bit of time in prison. She loves laughing.
Laughing like a psychotic person. Yes.
So he's essentially working as a barkeep. She shows up one day. She's down in the dumps. He says, what can I get you? She says, nothing. He says, what about tea? And she's like, no. He's like, what about this? And she's like, I don't have any money. He's like, okay, it's on the house.
Yeah.
And from that point on, she is hooked. Laughs at everything he says, compliments him left and right, spends all day with him.
Even though she says, I can't stay long, she's there for his entire shift.
Yeah. She always orders a Coke with extra ice, doesn't touch it, and stays the entire shift. Same thing happens the next day and the next day.
Yeah. Like she says she's busy all the time. She's a top lawyer who advises the government, this and that, but she's always hanging out at his bar, never working.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
She sends him emails.
Constantly.
Say, sent from an iPhone, and he's like, that's weird. I've never seen her with an iPhone.
Yeah, because her phone that she's taken out at the bar several times looks like an old Nokia, 4 generations old cell phone.
Eventually, she wants to go on a picnic, a romantic picnic, and he's like, look, I'm not into that. Maybe let's have lunch instead, or coffee or something.
Yeah.
They go and have some lunch and coffee. She doesn't order anything because she doesn't have any money. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And she's making little quippy jokes and stuff.
Damn it, sorry guys. Sorry.
Number 2.
I know, I was trying to adjust my foot. Okay.
There you go.
We're better now.
So she doesn't have any money to order. He says, fine, I'll get you something, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want coffee, and this, and a brownie, and a croissant. And the lady asks her, how do you want your coffee? And she doesn't know how to answer. I'm assuming because she doesn't order coffee. She just orders it to maybe fit in with him?
Yeah. And he goes, decaf.
Yeah. And then she says, by the way, I know that you're a comedian. I looked you up. You got a website, you got YouTube, you got an email, you got all that stuff. I've seen it all, and it's offensive. And your career's in the gutter. And he starts talking to her about, hey, it's been rough. It's been rough. I forget why she gets upset.
Oh, God,
I don't remember, but something small he says.
She was saying, oh, you should be proud. You're chasing your dreams. He said, don't tell anyone at work about the videos online of me being a comedian. I don't want them to find out. And he said something and it set her off. I think it was some kind of little self-deprecating,
a little comment that he makes sets her off. She flips out in front of the entire cafe.
Yeah.
And they part ways. She says, I'm going this way. He says, I'm going this way. He decides, I don't know where she goes. I'll put this chick. And he follows her.
Yep.
Follows her to her apartment. He can see inside the window. Her apartment's kind of crap. She's eating a TV dinner, which, why would she even eat a TV dinner when she just ate at the cafe? But whatever. She pulls out her laptop, starts sending him an email, and his phone goes, ding. And she turns and looks outside the window. She now knows that he's been spying on her.
Yeah, because he runs off, but then she immediately sends him an email going, hey, I saw you peeking in the window. You're so dirty. Because all of her emails and stuff to him are these suggestive little, like, oh, I was going to buy a thong, but what am I, 16? Plus, I don't need that riding up my gash. Like, lady, a little tact, please.
She's very, she doesn't have much of a filter. She's very boisterous.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
That's a very good way of putting it.
And he likes it, but he's put off by it. And it's this weird tug of war with him. He likes it, but he's put off by it. She'll say something sweet, and he likes it. She'll say something weird, and he's weirded out by it. And it's just a tug of war.
Yeah, like the whole conversation about, oh, if you could have a superpower. And he goes, oh, I'd want to know what people were thinking. She goes, oh, because you want to know what they think about you? He goes, no, I want to know if anyone's thinking of me at all. And she goes, have you ever just wanted to unzip people and climb inside them? He's like, no, can't say that I have.
She says she wishes people had a chin zip so she could unzip them from their chin to their belly and climb inside them. And she said, I would love to climb inside your body and stay there for the winter, but I would really miss this. And he's like, you know what, how about this? Because they're having a moment where he likes it. So he's indulging her a little bit. And he says, well, how about this? Every once in a while, I'll unzip my chin zipper and throw in a couple of biscuits for you. And she just laughs it up, loves it.
I think a part of him likes the attention, but he knows, like, this isn't normal.
For sure.
Because with his comedy, why do some people do comedy? They like attention. They like feedback. And when he's getting that from her, he's like, well, a part of me knows this could be dangerous, but she did show up to one of my comedy shows, and she did get everyone laughing.
Everyone was not interested. They told him he shit. His jokes were bombing. All of a sudden, you hear her laugh in the crowd, and it saves his ass.
Yeah, because then he's able to kind of use her as like, okay, I'm going to throw some jokes at her. And everyone else kind of starts to get into it, and he finds his rhythm and gets to go.
I have had a few comedian friends. I know how the comedy circuit works. I know how the audience works. I've been that person. When a couple of comedian friends of mine, when they're starting out, they're going to test their jokes out, put me in the front off to the side.
Yeah.
Because I can be the buffer. I can laugh and tell everyone when it's time to laugh. Yeah. You remind them of certain jokes. I've been that person. It's a very productive placement.
Yeah, because then if people aren't quite sure, if they're like, they know, oh, that person's laughing, this isn't supposed to be weird, it is funny.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry guys.
It turns out your throat doesn't like cream.
Yeah, apparently drinking a cold brew coffee with cream is not agreeing with my throat. So I apologize for having to clear my throat so much. I tried drinking water.
I just think it's funny that cream doesn't...
Oh, that cream you gave me really clogged me up there, Donnie. Oh.
Right? You got it nailed.
That's about what she sounds like.
That's about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to say, for only one episode in, they are nailing these roles perfectly.
Yeah, they reel you the fuck in.
And when you start searching, and like I said, there are spoilers, we're going through this. If you're this far into listening to us talk about it, stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Put us on pause.
Yep.
We will be on your phone, your tablet, your PC, MP3 player, if you're still doing that thing. We don't judge. Come back to us after you see the series, or at least finish the first episode. But when he goes to his computer and he starts looking up her Facebook friend request, and then starts Googling her, and realizing, oh, she's a convicted stalker.
Well, he also looks at her profile and notices that she's got all these posts of photos where she has photoshopped herself into photos of big-time people.
Yeah, put her head, poorly I might add, onto other people to be near the higher-ups in government that she said she was advising. The same thing's like, oh, he'd be lost without me. It's like, and then a picture of him that looks like she took it on the sly. because he's kind of looking that direction, but seems put off by the fact she might have taken his picture. It's at a low angle.
Yeah, he was at work. She was sitting at the bar, but he wasn't paying attention to her. She was able to get a quick photo.
Yeah, it's something to the effect she captured, like, "Oh, I found my own baby reindeer to have and to hold." Mm-hmm. She cannot spell to save her life, by the way. Mm. And I don't know if it's real or if it's something she does just because. There's really no telling after the first episode. All you know is she's off her rocker, and he's concerned, but he's kind of like, well... Because after he finds out all this stuff about her, that she's a convicted stalker, what does he do, Leanne?
Keeps talking to her. Oh, he accepted her request.
He accepted her friend request. I'm sorry. If there was somebody weird stalking me, sent me a friend request, and then I Googled them, like, let me just look and see. And I kept seeing page after page of convicted stalker stories about that person. Yeah, you're not being confirmed as a friend. Mm-hmm. I'm shutting down whatever email address you have to contact me at, and I'm probably going to quit the job I'm at and move somewhere else.
Yeah.
I want to get away. But that's the first episode. Yeah. That was pretty crazy. You want to continue on?
Yeah, I do.
All right. We're going to do that. You guys, listen to this.
Let's face it, people. There's only one way to deal with a crook. Policeman wearing pastel pajamas? Come on. Or ever see a real cop driving a ritzy sports car? Get serious. All the other TV cops are wusses. Except one. Meet Sledgehammer.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
Friday nights this fall.
Now, I want you to say the first thing that comes to your head. Car.
Crash.
Book.
Bullet.
Apple.
Homicide.
Relaxation.
Firing range.
Inspector Sledgehammer, you seem to have a preoccupation with guns and violence.
Let's not get personal, okay, Doc?
Sledgehammer. Coming this fall.
Hi. You know me? Well, most people don't, and that's why I carry this. It's a .44 Magnum. It's recognized throughout the world. When I show this, I get instant attention. Whether I'm here or out on the street, people know I mean business.
Sledgehammer. Bringing justice to a naughty world. Friday nights this fall.
I won't leave home without it. Boy, it's good having you here. Comfortable. Glad you could spend the night. We're good together. We are. Look, I think we should get some sleep. I got a big day tomorrow.
Sledgehammer. A love story. Coming this fall.
Take my advice. Never draw your gun unless you intend to use it. Well, so... that's the...
Sledgehammer. He's no wuss.
So episode 2 is in the books.
It's ranked up.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A new character has been introduced.
Tony.
Well, I'm Terry.
Yeah, Terry. Terry has been introduced. Donnie signed up to a dating website.
A trans dating website.
Mm-hmm.
He was embarrassed and decided to create a fake identity.
Tony the Builder.
Yeah.
And he's been seeing Terry under this false identity.
Mm-hmm.
And Martha is still as attached to him at the hip as can possibly be.
Yeah. So when he first starts seeing Terry, he's a little standoffish, but he enjoys the dates because he keeps dating her.
Yeah.
Always going to this one specific restaurant that's dimly lit on the outside of town, and he realizes that he is starting to fall for her. He really likes her, likes everything about her, and he decides it would probably be best to let Terry know about Martha so that she can stay the fuck away from her.
Yeah.
And Terry's like, this lady's crazy, you need to call the cops. And he's like, I'm not gonna call the cops, that's crazy. She's like, bro, what the fuck? She's crazy. this is dangerous. Call the cops, okay?
Yeah. She's... I forget what did they say she was a therapist?
Yes.
Yeah. Terry's a therapist. She's like, this woman's off her gourd.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, but calling the cops, it seems like it's maybe a bit too far. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, but she's also calling you Donnie and baby Reindeer. He's like, oh, she calls me lots of weird names.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Yeah, so as soon as he accepted Martha's friend request, she started going off on his Facebook, commenting on tons of his photos of exes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this? Whatever, and then, labeling some of them. One is Thirsty Reindeer, because I think he was taking a drink or something, and another one's Happy Reindeer, and he's with his friends laughing, and she's starting to get jealous of his exes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who are you texting?
She's ugly, and comments on photos, and...
Yeah.
He's been seeing Terry, he's very happy seeing Terry, but he's afraid of what people might think of him because Terry is a trans woman, which is why they go to the darker bar, restaurant, whatever, to date. He's like, I don't know what people are going to think. But he's texting her, and they're having a good time. Hey, lovely seeing you, and then that's
video
what...
chatting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Having a great time. They're getting along great.
Mm-hmm.
He feels that this is the person he's meant to be with. He loves her.
Mm-hmm.
Enter Martha showing up at his work again.
Mm-hmm.
And who are you texting? What is it? Are you fucking her? He's like, hold on, whoa, you need to stop.
Yeah, you would think he would say, don't fucking talk like that. Go the fuck away, we're done. You would think so.
You would think so.
Doesn't happen.
No.
She pisses him off. And then she makes him happy. She pisses him off, and then she makes him happy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's torn. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He has had enough because Martha is at the bar every day, which he almost blows his cover with Terry, revealing he's been wanting to tell her who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
It almost slips when he shows her all the emails she's been sending.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, yeah, she's at the Heart every day at the pub. And she's like,
how do you know that?
He's like, oh,
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember how we met. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a million years. And Terry's like, well, according to these emails, you were there yesterday. Well, she lies about everything. She lies. Who knows why she lies about everything? And it's like, bro.
Meanwhile, that was your shift, dude. So anyway, she's getting followed around. She showed up 2 hours before it's even open. And she's like, after she's followed him around saying all this, he's like, look, there's an age difference between us. I might want to have kids. This ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, he uses a fake excuse. A polite, soft, fake excuse. Like, hey, we've got an age difference. It's just not gonna work. And she goes, oh, it's okay. I'm not that much difference in age. And he's like, yeah, but I want a lot of kids. And it's something to take in consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess the fuck what? Now she wants 1 million kids, and she wants to get married. She picked out names. Egbert was one of them. Neo was another one.
Yeah, she totally fucking emailed him and was like, oh, the doc says I'm perfectly fine. The JJ's all up, so when you want to start poaching my eggs? Like, ew.
And at one point, he goes to the back office where the other employees are, and he says, you guys, we need to bar her. From this place. And they're like, yeah, we can't just do that, dude. And he goes, look, she's been sending me all these emails. And they look at the emails and they're like, oh man, that is a lot, but this is tough. The phone gets handed to another guy and he goes, well, this is going to be even more tough because of all the times you've asked her for anal. And he goes, wait, what? And he goes, oh yeah, here's one of you asking her for anal. He had replied to her asking for anal. And he loses his shit.
Big time loses it.
Like, that guy doesn't know what he just did.
No, he goes, oh, she'll take it as a joke. Meanwhile, she emails and goes, when? Where? Just tell me. We can do it.
And then as he's walking home, she shows up. In the middle, it's nighttime. She shows up, and he's like, uh-oh. And she starts getting aggressive.
Oh, before we get there.
What?
He has a semifinal coming up for his comedy show.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got tickets. I'll be there. He's like, oh, great. So he goes and calls the people putting on. He goes, can I move my semifinal to another date? I've got family stuff to deal with. I just need to know. So they move it for him. He's trying to avoid Martha.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. he goes and meets Terry at a gay bar. And he has done, I'm assuming, coke, took some off a key, so he was coke, and is like, yeah, he's like, oh, hey, ooh. She's like, this isn't like you.
Well, he says, let's dance.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I picked this place because it was super gay, and I wanted to test you. He's like, great, let's fucking dance. And he starts dancing his ass off. And she starts talking to him like, this is weird. This is weird even for you. Who are you? And where's Tony? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm, what's his name, Donnie? And then she stops and she goes, that's weird. Isn't that what Martha calls you? And things get real awkward real quick.
He goes to the bathroom, tries to do more coke, drops his supply in the toilet.
Yeah.
Then comes out, she goes, hey, Terry goes, why don't you sit, have some water? Tells him, I Googled Martha, why didn't you tell me she was a convicted stalker? He's like, she goes, hey, you know what, why don't you come home with me tonight? And he's like, okay, yeah. And then he bails on her.
Well, so while they're in the club, the music is right, the lights are right, the vibe is popping, they're dancing with each other, they're finally having fun. They're at a gay club, they're able to be themselves, and on the way to her place, they decide to take the tube. And as they're standing there, in the tube.
Yeah, on the train. They're standing across from each other. You can see he has set himself apart from her, not standing next to her. They're across. If you've ever been on like a bus or a subway train, there's the rails where you stand. She's on one side, he's on the other. And
he sees a man staring at them. And when he looks back, it's a different man staring at them. Which, realistically, no one is staring at them.
Yeah.
His mind is seeing everyone is staring. He's getting paranoid. He's feeling uncomfortable. The train stops, and he just backs out, lets the door close, and Terry is off the train. He's ignoring her calls. He feels off.
And this is where we get to what you're referring to. I just didn't want to jump there and we leave out a whole section, because there's a lot that leads up to Martha confronting him at the canal when he's going home, which is terrifying.
Yeah. So as he's walking, he notices that she is standing in the way. And he's like, oh. And she's like, well, hey, by the way, let's do anal. If you want to do anal, we can't have kids. That's the way it is. She starts coming up on him, and he's like, look, this is not going to happen. Whatever. I'm going to go home, and you're going to go your way. He turns to walk away, and she starts following him. He says, no, you don't follow me. And she then becomes very aggressive, pushes him up against the wall, and grabs his crotch.
Yeah.
And he freezes.
She's like, oh, I'm making your heart beat.
No, that's how human bodies work.
Yeah. That's what happens when someone's fearing for their life.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. It's really good, though.
Yeah.
Really interesting storytelling going on. I don't know what to expect. So, shall we do episode 3? All right, we'll be back.
He is called the Dark One.
There's been a murder.
He has come to this quiet town.
He's here.
To make his home.
We're connected somehow. He sees through me.
You have a daughter? I'm Regina.
I know.
From the director of Lawnmower Man comes the most chilling, gripping, terrifying movie of the year.
Let me take you somewhere.
No! Nobody's trying to kill Regina! Regina!
Hideaway, rated R, at theaters Friday.
So we finished episode 3.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's like it's getting ramped up with each episode.
Man, the intensity is real.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So to recap a little bit of what episode 3 was, Donnie goes to tell Terry the truth. And she does not like it one bit. And I don't blame her. He lied. He didn't ever try to tell her the truth until now when things got out of hand. She's rightfully pissed, calls him a prick, tells him, you have 3 minutes. He says his piece. She goes, all right, time's up. Get the fuck out of my house. And that's when Martha started. He goes home, Is that when he went home? Oh, fuck. And there was so much going on. Anyway, Martha is still stalking him. He goes home because we've been told that he's staying with the mother of his ex-girlfriend. Is it Keely, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
So we see a little bit of that, they broke up, he stayed there, just don't bring chaos to my mom's house. Because if you do, hell will be paid. Her brother dies, and, the mom's like, well, have you around nice, and here's some of his old clothes. He's like, I can't. She goes, but what are we going to do with them anyway? Fine. But then, he comes home one night, there's a cooking club that his ex's mom is a part of, and who so happens to be infiltrating this cooking club but Sheila, who is actually Martha. Oh. She stays having a good talk with, his landlady, his ex's mom. And he's like, yeah, it's getting late. I think she should go. And Sheila, just goes, oh, I can stay here. And he's like, no. But his ex's mom was like, no, we have more than enough room. It used to be an old lodging house. I'll go fix you a bed. So Donnie confronts her and says, you need to go, or I'm going to call the police. He's like, oh, don't play with me. He goes, pulls up his phone and shows her, I'm going to call him. She just gets up, walks out. And then every day after that, she's just at the bus stop near his home, waiting to see when he leaves, dodging his landlady, his ex's mother.
So it turns out he blocked her on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he was taking a break from his job. So the only way she could see him is if she hung out at the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily that she wants to know when he's leaving and all this other stuff. She just wants to see him. She wants to be around him. When he passes by, she's talking to him. When he comes back home, she's talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather starts getting colder and colder, and he notices that she is talking less. She's kind of turning into a meat popsicle.
Mm-hmm.
Against his better judgment, he goes and talks to her and feels bad for her.
Yeah.
And takes her to her house to get her warmed up. And she's confused. She's sad. He says, look, I don't want to be with you. This isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm breaking up with you. She's very sad. She doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for his competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he chose the different day to avoid her. Did not work, because when he got there, well, first of all, Terry shows up with her friends, and he's like, what are you doing here? She's going, I wanted to watch you fail.
Yeah, she's very blunt.
This is my emotional support group. From they helped me get over shitty men.
Yeah.
He realizes Martha is also there. Or
no, he's told he's got to go on stage, and he's like, oh shit. He's really nervous that Terry's there.
So the competition starts. It's his turn to go up. He starts his set. It's awkward. It's not funny. No one's laughing. He's used to having Martha there, being the buffer. Well, she is there, except this time she's not a buffer.
Mm-hmm.
She is singing to him. He starts cracking jokes like, hey, everybody, this is my stalker. She loses her fucking shit. At the end of his set, he's packing his stuff up. Terry shows up, and she's like, Martha's fucking psycho. He's like, yeah, she is. She's like, you know what? I want to meet her. I want to talk to her. I can help her. He's like, you don't know what you're fucking dealing with. She's a psycho. There is no helping her. You have to run away. They find a way to go out the back. Well, apparently his work is not that far off because they go to the pub.
That wasn't his pub. That was another pub nearby.
Oh, it was a different one.
Yeah.
Okay. I always thought that was his. So he and Terry sit down. They decide they're going to have a little bit of a date. They ran away from Martha. They finally reconnected. It seems like she's kind of accepting his apology a little bit. She's still mad, but she accepts the apology.
Yeah.
And guess who shows up there? Martha.
Asking who the skank is.
And calling her a bitch and a whore and this and that. And she attacks Terry, telling her she looks like a man. And you can tell by the boobs. And she punches her, scratches her, all kinds of stuff. You can tell Terry is traumatized.
Yeah.
And then he lays into Martha, screaming at her. Get the fuck out of here!
You show up in my life again, I'll see you to your grave.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him for saying that. But when he goes back and looks at Terry, she looks at him like, why didn't you say what I asked you? She said, you need to tell her we're on a date and she can fuck off. We see Terry has had bits of her hair ripped out of her scalp. She's got scratches on her face. He just kind of looks at him like, you couldn't stand up for me? I mean, he does help pull Martha off of Terry, but he didn't say what she asked him to say. Like, tell her you're with me. Oh. And we didn't even touch on his ex-girlfriend coming back to his mom's place and saying, your girlfriend's a psycho. She's stalking me on Facebook, making all sorts of comments. You need to shut it the fuck down.
Because she's not my girlfriend. She's just a stalker. And she's like, I don't care what the fuck's going on. If this gets worse, I'm going to tell my mom.
Yep.
And you're going to be out.
Yeah, it's a fucking crazy episode. So much happened. But for a little bit there, Terry was like, okay, because he goes, do you think you could, see past what I did? She just goes, no, but I did see that you changed your profile on the dating website, and that kind of means something. She goes, but what you did is going to be the base for any argument we have going forward, so I basically win from here on out. And they kind of laugh, and then shit goes downhill when Martha shows up. But we're getting ready to go into episode 4.
Episode 4 is intense.
And it had a warning that there was, like, extreme,
all the trigger warnings.
Yeah. So if you're watching this and you get to episode 4 and you see that, if you can't handle it, we totally understand. Duck out, find something else. If you're able to watch it and not, I don't want to say not feel anything, but you're able to handle that kind of content, then stick around with us and you'll hear more from us after this episode. So, keep on rolling.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be back.
The beat goes on. McDonald's beef goes on. Your big beef, pure beef, hot and lean. Oh, the beat goes on. You're 100% pure beef machine. Oh yeah, the beat goes on. From Big Mac to quarter pounder, lean and hot. Your big beef taste just won't stop. It's a good time for the great taste. On McDonald's, the beef goes on.
That was dark, heavy, gross, and not in the sense of, I guess we should just get to it. So, we start off with Donnie going to the police station, which is where we first met him in episode 1. He's starting to make a report about Martha. But, as he's coming to the point of them asking, why did it take you so long? 6 months to go to the cops on her. We get a flashback. He tells us of a rather dark experience he had, but it started off with him going to a festival to do his comedy. Maybe get seen. He's performing at a bar, trying to make ends meet while he's there, trying to gain any sort of traction, get someone's attention, and he does end up meeting one person. So the bartender gives him this card. It's for this private bar. Like, hey, this fell out of somebody's wallet. Maybe you can make some connections there. And he meets Darian, who's a writer on a show he really enjoys, and starts working with him on how to make his comedy show better. Things kind of take off at this bar for him performing, and as quickly as it started to take off, it ends. It's over. The festival's done. Darian, who has told him, oh, we'll work together, you'll come right with me, sold him on all these beautiful ideas of what he'll do, just kind of ghosts him for a while. Donnie starts taking acting classes where he met Keely and they started dating, and then he starts getting calls out of the blue from Darian. Starts going to his house, he's showing him what he's working on. This all leads to multiple encounters where Donnie goes there, he's drugged and assaulted repeatedly.
The term drugged is not
he's a
one because
he was willing.
So he offered him drugs, and because he wanted this guy to like him and be in his favor, he accepted the drugs. It started off with, oh, here's some THC. Oh, here's some cocaine. Oh, here's some MDMA. And then it turns into crack. And then it turns into heroin. And basically, he's just throwing every drug he can find at this dude.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to take it. And every time he takes drugs with this guy winds up taking advantage of him in some physical capacity.
Yeah.
Whether it's sticking his finger where it doesn't belong as Donnie is getting sick because of the drug, or he passes out and he wakes up with spit on his genitals.
Yeah.
Or he wakes up just straight up being raped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so drugged isn't really... It's taken advantage of in a situation that he had no control over once the drugs kicked in.
He had the upper hand. He was using it as manipulation, but he was aware that he was taking drugs.
Yeah, I thank you for correcting me on that, because it wasn't like it was slipped into his drink and then...
He could say, oh, this is MDMA, and then have it be something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, he had him doing acid, meth at one point. He just said whatever drugs he had, I was taking them. So he wanted to be in this guy's good favor.
This guy made him feel good. He was telling him all the things he wanted to hear, how great he's going to be, and how this show wants to bring him on as a writer, and they're going to pay him, and he's going to be set, and all this stuff. He's also having him write for the show, but he's also not getting paid to do it.
Yeah.
And even though this guy is abusing him, he keeps coming back for the promise that he's going to make it.
Yeah.
He is going to be a comedian.
He exploited a young man's dreams to take advantage and serve himself in ways that were taking advantage of someone. And it was just, it was hard to watch.
It is. But then it explains that after this abusive relationship, he tries to move on with his life.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he's left with these very confusing thoughts and feelings. He doesn't know if he's gay, straight, bi, whatever. He doesn't even know if he likes sex, because his girlfriend tries to have sex with him and he clams up.
Yeah.
He's not into it. So he decides, once she moves the fuck out, that he's going to start dating again. He starts going to these shady clubs, hooking up with shady people, having shady sex in a shady bathroom, and he decides he's going to start, dating. He tries to take these people on a date. It's always at this one particular restaurant, dimly lit, and with each person he meets there for a date, he excuses himself and bolts.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's picking this place because he knows the exit.
Yeah.
And eventually, one of the people he has a date with is Terry.
Mm-hmm.
And oh shit, he likes her.
Yeah, it's the first time he's felt a real connection since Keeley left, and he's had all these confusing feelings. I think it's as close you could get to, and I'm not speaking from any experience or anything, it might be as close to a real-life portrayal of what could actually happen to somebody as an adult who's been manipulated, exploited, raped, and assaulted in that way, to have these confusing feelings of, well, now I don't know what I am or who I am.
One of the things I really appreciate about that portrayal of someone who has been sexually abused is the fact that he tries to take a shower and his butt hurts.
Yeah.
And the guy asks if he can, come in. He has a towel. He says, come here. And he puts the towel around him. You can see him kind of sink into his shoulder. Like, yes, you're the one that did this to me. Yes, you're the one abusing me. But you're also the only one that knows. And you're the only shoulder I have.
Mm-hmm. And even said in the narration as we get this flashback, you would think I would have left at that point, but I stayed there for several more days. I fed his cat while he was taking phone calls. I did this, I did that. Then he goes back to his girlfriend. She's like, what's wrong? He goes, I just don't like the way we left things. And that's where we see he's not interested in sex at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And a part of me is like, you can understand where he's coming from. He's just been through this series of traumatic events. But you can also see where she's like, we're in a committed relationship. We should be able to be intimate. She doesn't know. And he can't tell her because he feels he's going to be seen as less than. He's seeing people look at him the entire time he's walking anywhere. He's like, they're staring at me. They know something I don't. They're seeing through my eyes into my soul as to who I really am, and I don't know who I am. It's really fucked up. This series took a turn I was not expecting. It's like, whoa. And then we realize this all feeds into why he didn't mind Martha being around so long.
Mm-hmm.
She saw him as how he wanted to be seen.
It also explains why when she sexually assaulted him, he froze.
Yeah, but let's also not gloss over the fact that Darian, who was assaulting him, would be compassionate to him and do all this and give him drugs and be kind, and then the very next day would email him going, this is shit. you're not good enough. You need to rewrite this shit. What the fuck am I asking you to do this for? Treat him like shit, then treat him all nice, feed him drugs, and then take advantage of the situation with promises of, you're going to be huge. And he never got anything.
It's for the beginning when he's talking to Martha and the guy, he's talking to Martha at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys are saying, when are you going to hook up with her? When are you going to hook up with your girlfriend? And he's like, I don't have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
Now we know why he doesn't want to have sex.
It also explains why he's not as like, oh yeah, hey, footy and all this, when these guys are cheering on sports and, making these jokes, that he's very much like, he's awkward in these situations. We see exactly why Donnie is the way he is. And I feel like the only time you kind of get to see him be himself is on stage as a comedian. That's where I feel like he's almost the most free when he's doing his little play the Donnie Dunn and doing his weird little dance in his suit. I feel like that's the only time you get to see him be a little more real, because everything else is reserved. Or when he's around Terry and there's nothing else going on.
That's what I was saying.
Those are like the two times you get to see him really kind of be himself. More so with Terry, I should say. But it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
And I appreciate they put a warning at the beginning of this episode, and at the end they said, if you know or are someone who has been a victim of sexual violence or abuse, they put a link to a website, seek help, reach out, don't feel like you can't. And I'll reiterate that. If you know or are someone, reach out to somebody.
We will have the phone number and contact information at the end.
Yeah, there will be information in the notes. You'll be able to get that if you need it. Please use it. For anyone you know, for yourself, whatever it is.
Now you know why I couldn't stop watching the show.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode and was hooked.
Oh my god. But it wasn't done in a manner where it's like, oh, look at how it was done. How do I put this? They didn't use these moments of assault and rape exploitatively.
I agree.
They did it in a manner that told you the story without it being so focused on that.
It was meant to be uncomfortable.
And it was.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable from the point this guy, Darian, even showed up when he was at that one bar. I'm like, I don't like this guy. Something is wrong with this guy.
The first thing for me, other than, inviting him to his home and all this stuff, which people can argue that wasn't any red flag. For me, it was when they were both sitting on the couch, supposedly drugged out of their mind. He was, but I don't know about what's-his-face. And what's-his-face puts his leg on his knee. Says, is this okay?
You don't mind, do you? He just goes, no. Completely. Donnie has not taken anything like this before. He's only smoked a little bit of weed.
And then another time that he showed up, the same thing happened. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah.
His leg was on his knee again.
And I feel it's a power move.
It's a testing move. I'm going to start with your knee and see how comfortable you are. When he starts getting sick on the floor, he's rubbing his back.
Starts by patting it, and then he's caressing his back. Rubbing it, and then it's caressing, and then it goes to... Imagine the worst thing that could possibly happen, and that's about where you're at. I don't want to go into details of what it is, but... A hand goes somewhere it shouldn't, and all Donnie can muster out is the word stop. And it does stop that time, but it's already happened at that point.
Since next time we'll go slower.
It's like, that's where we're at. It basically explains why Donnie is the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's why he feels a connection with Terry, why he feels she's the only one he can be himself around. Despite him creating a false identity and a false profession, he was still very much himself around Terry in all those times. So I think we've covered as much as episode 4 as we can.
Well, yeah. I can't go into too much detail.
No. Although I did like the line when he was asking, what do you do? He goes, well, it's comedy when they laugh, it's performance art when they don't.
And he goes, what was the crowd like tonight? They came to the art.
Yeah, a heavy episode, so if you haven't seen that one yet, be wary going in. It goes some dark places. It kind of reminded me of Quiet on Set. Somebody in a position of power, taking advantage of someone, and...
It starts out with a hand in the pants and ends up with full-on rape on multiple occasions. So, yeah.
Yeah. Shall we continue down this road?
Let's do it.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Shh. Be very, very quiet. What's up, Doc? I'm hunting for the sharpest VCR picture. Then what are you doing over there? Sony Super Beta has a picture like real life. 20% sharper than the one that beat VHS. Pesky rabbit. And only Sony has this super special effects wheel. I'll give you a special effect, rabbit. Oh, sorry, Doc. Super Beta is sharper. Sony, the one and only.
Okay, so, Episode 5. Holy fucking shit. We are off the reservation, I feel, at this point. How did this one even start? There's another episode where a lot happened.
Well, he found a new place because he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Because his ex-girlfriend got soda thrown in her face.
By Martha.
And
of all
he
people.
made light of it, like, the cops aren't going to do anything. And she's like, you're going to tell them about this, right? And they're like, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to care.
Yeah, I've showed them all my emails. They're not going to care about a Coke being thrown in your face.
And then the mom was like, you need to go.
Yeah. Basically was like, if that's how you're going to treat it, get out of my house. So he found a place with, 2 classmates from his days in, I think it was drama.
Yeah, really, really nice apartment. Really nice flat.
Yeah. Until nighttime hits, and it's just a bunch of people experimenting with psychedelic drugs. Yeah. So he's getting basically no sleep.
Yeah, he decides he's going to give it a go with Terry.
Yeah, stay with Terry some more, and things are fine for a little bit.
Yeah, he avoids sexual encounters.
Yeah, intimacy is not his thing.
Yeah, and instead of telling her, he can't. So she thinks it's because of her, and the fact that she's trans, and she said she feels like she's being victimized all over again.
Yeah, and we see more of Donnie's deep-seated issues as the only way he can... Well, he does go to the police. Finally, because Terry went off on saying, you never told them about what happened to me because you told me not to call. You told everyone else not to call, and you took me out of there. He goes, I was trying to protect you. She goes, yeah, in your own mind. So he finally goes to the police. Still doesn't say anything about Terry, the attack on Terry, but tells the guy at the desk, like, just look up the name Martha Scott. And that immediately sends up a red flag. They take him to the back. The detective talks to him and says, she's serious. She stopped a policeman before. He goes, okay, so what are you going to do? Well, we'll talk to her, and you'll be surprised how the police can handle things. He's like, you just said she stopped the police before, so I'm not convinced. They told him, give us a timeline, we'll take care of it, and we'll keep you updated. So after that, this is when we delve deeper into Donnie's psyche. After the police had confronted her, Martha, silence. No emails, nothing. And it's made him worry about what's happening.
He misses her chaos.
Yeah.
What does he do? Where does he go?
Oh, he goes back to the flat he's sharing with his friends, and... Oh, wait, was there something before he started using her picture to...
Oh, no, yeah. Well, I was going to say, yeah, he starts, masturbating with the picture she left him, and he eventually gets tired of that and just goes over to her flat.
Yeah.
Fucks the shit out of her.
Yeah, and she just looks at him like, oh. And she goes, somebody hurt you, huh? Cut to, he's now able to be intimate with Terry because Martha fixed his libido somehow because he got...
In a twisted way.
Yeah. It's really fucked up and speaks to what can happen with trauma.
Yeah.
Like...
It's really sad.
He tries to put together the timeline of events, goes back to the police to find out what's going on. He's like, oh, I didn't do it yet. I couldn't find the words. Like, well, what happened when you went over there to talk to her? She's like, she was very cooperative, understood everything. She's going to take our help. And he's like, but she said some stuff, right? He was trying to get more info to see if she was confrontational. They're like, no, she was fine. And it throws him off. He wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, he wanted the chaos.
Yeah.
Expecting the chaos. And he wasn't getting it.
Yeah. Cut to Dottie and Terry are at a nice restaurant having a dinner.
Mom calls,
and he goes, I'll get it later. This night is for us. And you're like, okay, there's something's going on. He's actually taking steps in the right direction.
When I saw that, I did not take it that way. She says, answer it. You can tell a lot about a man by the way he treats his mom.
Mm-hmm.
He ignores her. He puts the phone down and just continues on.
True. That is somewhat telling.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're having a conversation that fades out, panicked voicemails from his mother and father saying, where are you? Tell us what hospital you're at. We got a call that we can't find you at any hospital. We don't know what's going on. There's no records anywhere. And we can't call back the person who notified us that you were in an accident. I'm sorry, what?
What was her name? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
man.
The thing is, we're now starting episode 6.
Yeah.
Episode 6 is going to be also intense. Episodes 4 and 6 are the most intense.
Okay.
So get ready.
I'm ready. I almost forgot we were recording a podcast and just went right into 6. Like, let's just keep going. It's been that good.
Episode 5 didn't have too much to it, but enough to set the scene for what's going to happen next.
Yeah, it was more like, you need a bit of a palate cleanser, so here's some less dark, less traumatizing stuff going on. We're just going to catch you up with what did he do with the police? How's Martha doing? What's his relationship with Terry? And then right at the end, they're like, oh, yeah, remember the chaos you're missing? Here's the start of more.
Just when he thinks he's going to have a fresh breath, in comes the smoke.
Yep.
The fire, that is Martha.
Yeah. That is a good way to put it. So wherever she goes, she just burns everything to the ground. Yeah. So, jump back in.
Hell yes.
All right. We're going to dive in head first. You guys keep listening, and we'll be right back.
Let's go out to the kitchen. Let's go out to the kitchen and have ourselves a snack.
Ice cold milk. Help yourself.
So, that was episode 6. Got very intense there at the end. Very emotional. The whole thing had an emotional arc. I'm trying to think where do we start. Where did it pick up from? It picked up him going to see his parents to show them, hey, haven't been in a car accident. And Martha has been calling and harassing his parents. And his Scottish father is letting her have it.
Yeah.
I mean, calling her every name under the sun, telling her, I'll cut your fucking legs off, you come around here, calling her an imbecile. It's a whole mess. His parents try to convince him, or his mom tries to convince him, just quit your job, we'll carry you. And his dad's like, no, he's right, it's about winning. He needs to see this through. They call the cops, and they're like, well, she's only harassing your parents. They'd have to file a whole separate report, because she's not technically harassing you. So he decides, well, the cops aren't doing anything, I'm going to take matters in my own hands, and tries to bait her into emailing him dirty emails, promising, if you leave my family alone, I'll come hang up your curtains, and whatever.
Yep.
So that's when we find out, when Donnie gets called into the police station, after she sends the email. Everything. Every encounter they've ever had, she has had something on her to record every conversation. So the cops basically tell him, you need to apologize, and you both go your separate ways. That's how it's going to work. Let us do our job, and that's what we're doing. So he goes, fine, then tell her I'm sorry. And she sends send him an email. Was it the cops have washed their hands of us? That's this whole long thing. We're done, I don't want you anymore, and then, P.S., I still love you, that'll never change. Fucking psycho talk. Terry and Dottie have a falling out over this whole thing. She calls him out, she says, you love this, on some level, this makes you feel better. You're basically telling him exactly what the case is, in a sense.
He only knows half of it.
Yeah. She only knows half of it. He's like, it's not my fault. She goes, but it is. And now we're done. I can't deal with this. Cut to him working at the pub. Who walks in but crazy-ass Martha. And he's like, you can't be in here. She's like, try and stop me. He tells the new guy that got hired, oh, we didn't even get to that, did we? We didn't even touch on that, where he goes to work and his colleagues have seen his comedy because Martha sent them all the videos. They're like, we watched it all. You're not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, fucking hell. Alright, so they know he's doing stuff, and they're like, Anyway, she shows up. They have a new guy that's working there. He goes, hey, get the guys from the back. They're like, oh yeah, he's like, they're gone. They stepped out. They won't be back. It's like, well, then you take her out. She goes, don't you fucking touch me. I'm on my period. I came in for water, and it's illegal to throw me out when I'm trying to hydrate, blah, blah, blah. Donnie's like, fine. Trying to serve a customer, and she's pouring herself water, and it is a whole fucking mess what happens.
So, she is talking shit about Donnie to this other customer. He's a shitty comedian, he's got a bad mouth, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, why don't you Google search him? Google search this shitty comedian. And she's like, just kidding, just look up, comedian Donnie, whatever.
Yeah,
and
Donnie does comedy.
And they're watching his videos, and they're like, oh man, she's right, you're not funny. And he goes, how about this? Why don't you look up crazy bitch stalker stalks whatever. And she loses her fucking shit. She says, you ruined it. She takes a glass and just smashes it into his face. They eventually escort her the fuck out.
Yeah. After he retaliates and punches her in the fucking face for smashing a glass upside her head. Which I feel was warranted, because she was going at him again.
If she attacked him, he has every right.
Yeah. They drag her out, and actually that's when she sent the whole long email with all this whole paragraph of spelling errors and hard to read, and you ruined everything, and then P.S. I love you. Like, that'll never change. Like, ugh. Okay. So, the two managers telling Donnie, like, yeah, you can't call the cops because we'll get in trouble. We're not supposed to leave. You know the law.
And also, we've got the security cameras pointed at the wall, and we're just going to get in a whole bunch of trouble. How about this? We'll hang out with you. We'll take you out for a couple of beers or something. And he's like, whatever, fine. So he's got this gig.
Mm-hmm. The finals of the comedy competition. He has made it to the finals.
Yeah, so he's got this gig. And his coworkers are in the audience. He goes up, starts to do his thing, and the jokes are not landing.
Yeah.
So he decides, fuck it.
Throws his prop case down on the ground, grabs the stool.
Insert really sad monologue.
He unloads everything. What happened with the writer who abused him, what happened with Martha,
what happened with Terry,
everything, admitting that he hates himself so much that he can't bring himself to love Terry, and he knows that he's just ruined it. He's so naive. And it's just like, wow.
I really want to memorize that monologue.
That would be a masterful monologue for somebody to memorize and deliver to showcase their acting chops. It was, he just laid out everything.
His jokes. He's got this recording. He pushes a button, and the first part of it is, buy proper condoms, whatever. And it's basically, he tells a shitty joke, no one laughs, he hits the button, this recording comes on. Proper condoms, blah, blah, blah. And so, at the very, very end, he said, the room is really brought down. It's serious.
People are walking out.
A couple of people have walked out. A lot of people are still in shock. Like, holy shit. Not only was this guy not a comedy act, but his life story is horrendous.
Yeah.
Trauma. Awful. He says, I don't even know how to close this. And he goes, oh wait. Pulls out the button from his pocket. And then each time he plays the recording, it adds a little bit more to the joke. So at first it's pop a proper condom.
Yeah.
And then it's something about Whoppers.
Because he mentions Burger King.
Yeah. And then at the very end, it's a cop ordering a Whopper and then putting on a condom. So it's Whopper, Copper, Papa, Proper, Condom.
Yeah. It's this whole thing, this running gag, and it's actually really funny the way he puts it, because every time It's like, oh, the condom for someone who likes Burger King but eating Indian food who's a cop in a helicopter, or the Papa Proper Chopper Copper Whopper. It's like, what the hell? And it's hard not to laugh at it because it's really funny, but you've just had this really intense emotional outpouring from him, just letting it all out.
He just got done saying that he's not going to make it out alive. He thinks he's going to get murdered by this woman. And oh, by the way, he pushes a button, and it's his proper condom.
Yeah. And then just says, I look forward to winning this competition. Walks off stage and walks out.
Mm-hmm.
that's where we ended.
Yeah, we're about to start the last episode.
Yeah. But I will say, it looked like when he was walking out, like there was a sense of, I was finally able to tell somebody what I've been going through.
It was a release for him.
Like, it seemed like he was standing a little more upright, like, I know this is fucked, I know my life is fucked, but it felt good to get that weight I've been carrying around for years off my back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to finish this so bad.
Yeah.
You want to finish it?
I do.
Alright. So we're going to finish with episode 7, is it?
Yeah.
And then we'll be back. Final thoughts and a wrap-up. All right.
Tonight, Al Bundy is the Phantom.
I'll just sit here and play with my organ.
Married with Children, coming up next.
We just finished the last episode of the limited series, Baby Reindeer.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Not quite as intense as the other episodes, but...
No, but...
There was a lot of closure.
Yes, good way. I was trying to figure out the right words to use. Why am I at a loss for words all of a sudden? God, so much closure. He went viral for what he did at the comedy competition. Was going on podcasts, getting other comedy gigs, kind of embracing it for a bit.
So much so that he was getting bombarded with, emails and requests and things like that. He decided, gosh, I just can't keep up. Why don't I create an outgoing message and include my phone number?
Yeah, bad move on his part.
Because guess who messaged and guess who got his number?
Yep, dear old Martha. Threatening that she was going to tell his parents everything he said in the video, and that they're going to be ashamed to have a little bum boy as a son and all this. And
he decided it would be best to confront his parents directly.
Yeah, and he told them everything that was in the video, told them what happened, and he said, I was embarrassed you'd think less of... And it's kind of emotional, so it's hard to... And his dad goes, would you think of me as less of a man? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I grew up in the Catholic Church. Without saying anything, his dad spoke volumes, saying, I know what you went through. I've been there. And earlier, when they had been together, he was with his parents when Martha was calling them harassing. He went to hug his dad, and his dad stuck out his hand for a handshake. So Donnie instinctively stuck his hand out after his mom hugged him, and his dad pushed his hand away and hugged him. And I'll admit, I got teary-eyed in that moment. It was an emotional thing to see happen. But he felt worlds better. Then started telling them about everything. His relationship with Terry and what happened there, and Martha and Darian, everything laid out to his parents. He decides, you know what, I've had some time away, I'm going to go back home. So on the train back, pops his battery back into his phone. There's one thing I don't think we mentioned. This takes place around 2015 to 2017. So the majority of phones still had batteries you could pop out when you didn't want anyone bugging you. As soon as he pops that battery back in and turns it on, he's bombarded with voicemails. All from Martha. So he goes back to the police. He's like, look, she's calling me right now. They're like, yeah, unknown number, nothing we can do. It's like, so listen to the voicemails. The guy's like, yeah, we don't have the resources. He goes, but what you could do is don't change your number and just wait for her to leave a threatening voicemail. She's calling you frequently enough that she's probably going to slip up and say something stupid. So he's like, that's it? He goes, yeah, basically off the record, that's the only thing you can do. Which he does. He waits. And she does slip up. She leaves a voicemail saying she's about to stab somebody, right? If I'm not mistaken, there wasn't anything before that, right? Because he just kept listening to all these voicemails, cataloging, trying to keep them. We started downloading them for the police, putting them in different categories, and then she slips and is like, oh, I'll stab somebody. You don't realize how crazy I am. And that leads to her arrest a couple of days later. He goes to her sentencing or her arraignment hearing, some kind of hearing, and she pleads guilty to everything. The harassment against him, the stalking, the harassment against his parents. She's done. That's the last time he's ever seen her. But things really, they're not good for him after that. He misses it. He misses her. He holds up in his room, has not come out for weeks. His roommates call his ex Keely to come over. She's like, they're concerned. You haven't left this room in weeks. He's like, well, I feel great. She's like, wait, what's all this on the walls? He goes, oh, I'm getting close to figuring Martha out in the whole situation. Meanwhile, you can just see this has driven him to a form of madness to try and sort it all out. Ultimately, what happens here is Keely goes, look, I'm concerned for you. Move back in with my mom. Get yourself sorted. I don't want to see you living like this because that video that I saw of you, it really upset me. And knowing what you went through, you need to be around people who care about you, not just in some room with a couple of guys you schooled with, is basically what she tells him. He moves back in. His ex's mom goes, oh, by the way, there's something in the cupboard for you, along with some other stuff that I found of yours and just left it in a box for you. It was the coat that she gave him of her son's. And it was the box of things that he had left behind, which included the script for Hangman Harry that he showed to Darian. This leads to him confronting Darian at his own apartment. He goes to Darian's place and just talks with him about everything. Darian says, I saw your video. I think that was very brave. You know, the whole time I'm like, don't trust this motherfucker. Don't take anything from him. Apparently, he walks out of there with a job because Darian says, we're rebooting, or was it Cottonmouth? I think was the show he was working on before when he first met him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're rebooting it, so if you want to come on as a writer, you'll be paid this time. And Donnie says, yeah, okay, that's great. Walks out, starts listening to Martha's voicemails again because he has all these voicemails on his phone, just hundreds of voicemails from her. Goes into a pub, asks for a drink, and puts on one of her voicemails. And this is a voicemail where Martha tells him why she calls him Baby Reindeer. How do we say this? Long story short, she described a stuffed baby reindeer she had as a child that comforted her when her parents were fighting. He reminded her of that stuffed animal she had, and she felt safe with him. He breaks down listening to it, kind of has a look on his face like, what have I done? She was just looking for someone to be safe with, in a sense. Bartender brings him a drink, tells him how much it is. He goes, oh, I've left my wallet at home. I can't pay for it. Bartender goes, hey, you know what? It's on me. Don't worry about it. And I think in that moment, that act of kindness, he's feeling what Martha felt when he said, oh, the cup of tea's on me at the very beginning of all this. God, the whole thing is just this roller coaster ride. It was a damn good series, though. Really good. If you've listened to this all the way through and you haven't seen it, I don't know why you did that, but go watch it so you can fill in all the blanks that maybe we didn't fill in with certain things, because I'm sure we didn't cover everything, but we covered damn near everything important. I don't know what else to say. Leanne, do you have anything else to say about it?
No, but it was really good.
Thank you for bringing it to the table for this. This was a different take on Interstellar Interstitials, but I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
I can't say I had fun watching it, but it was entertaining in a sense that it kept me wanting more. The subject matter gets dark and gets really fucked up, but it is intriguing and just well done. So if you have Netflix, definitely watch it. If you've listened to this whole thing through and you haven't seen it, highly recommend you watch it. That said, Leanne, do you have anything you want to bring up before we tell everybody where they can find the show and all that?
No.
No? All right. Well, podcatchers of choice, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, YouTube Music, even regular old YouTube where you can get audio-only episodes. You can catch the podcast there. Head over to skewardhead.com where you can get links to the show. You can also find us on Podbean, but if you go to skewardhead.com, you'll find links there to the show as well as to our blog and our Patreon where you can support the show. If you are looking to start a podcast, we are indeed a Podbean affiliate. You will find our special link down in the show notes. Make sure you check that out. Get yourself a free month of podcast hosting with a paid unlimited plan. Help you, help us. Let's get more cool podcasts out there and not just a bunch of dumb celebrities. You can catch me every Saturday at Tales from the Podcast. We go live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Right now we are going through all seasons of Are You Afraid of the Dark, one episode at a time. And I'll put this out there, even the 2 and 3 part episodes, we're doing 1 part at a time. It's been really fun going through that, so check out JB and myself. Ron will soon be returning to that, so you can come, I don't know, listen to him get angry that he has to watch a kid's show. It's kind of fun, though. So make sure you check that out. You can go to talesfromthepodcast.com to find that show as well. And I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Have anything you want to add, Leanne, before we sign off?
No.
All right, we'll keep enjoying that universe. That's just... Actually, wait. We said there will be links and information regarding sexual abuse and that in the show notes, so make sure you check those out. Help someone if they need the help, or get yourself the help you need. Speak up. Don't hold it in, because it can do a lot of damage. We just want you to be seen, heard, and have someone listen to you to tell your story so you can get it out there and not walk around with the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's terrible what could happen, so let's try to keep an open dialogue and really get the help you need, or turn your friends to the help they need. And that said, keep enjoying the universe. It's just a bit skewered.